More on relationship building for other messages. Frequently showing appreciation and making apologies and expressing sympathy. Here's my challenge for this chapter. Be responsive. Gain a reputation for anticipating and responding to the needs of your colleagues, clients, and customers and manufacturers. Your reputation for responsiveness is among the most valuable reputations you can have. Doing routine messages well will give you this reputation.
Okay. For those of you that might be watching the recording, I forgot to hit the record button until just a few seconds ago. So, but the video is on Blackboard, so you can go back and look at that, and that's about all we have done so far. Okay, so routine messages, the type that we do on a day-to-day basis. We don't expect a lot of problems with people replying to these, no resistance of any kind, but we do want to make them as effective as possible. So get your PowerPoints up and rolling. We'll walk through those. I have a feeling that may not be there. Okay, do you guys have the PowerPoints?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm surprised. Okay. I had pulled them up before class, so I thought maybe they weren't going to be there when I came back. And hopefully the screen won't cut off on us today, so if it does, just hold on, we'll get it back. All right, so we're going to start off going back to that notion of credibility and tie those into routine messages today. Then we're going to talk about the process for doing the routine business messages in general. Then we'll get into the different types of routine messages. First of all, looking at the task-oriented ones, and then lastly, we'll look at the relationship-oriented messages. Okay. So your credibility, we've just kind of put into place in the very beginning of this course, is extremely important, and doing a routine message, something that someone's going to see your normal positive tone of communicating and so on, is going to strongly influence how people see your responsiveness, your reliability, your attention to detail, your commitment, and your professionalism. Now, this is a replay of something we learned in the first part of the whole semester. Credibility has 3 C's: confidence, caring, and character. So we want to make sure that any of our routine messages are adequately showing that we have the knowledge to get our tasks done, that we care about the business that we're dealing with and the community there, and that our reputation remains good for our stakeholders. We uphold our high moral and ethical values. So routine messages are things that you're probably going to produce very quickly every day on the job. You're not going to want to spend a whole lot of time. If you are a good communicator, you can do these written messages in just a matter of minutes. They do require less time for planning and reviewing than some of our other types of messages do. We have really talked about the planning a lot in some of our other messages, and how much time we should actually spend planning and then reviewing as well after we've constructed the message. But with the routine message, we can spend less time on those because they are things that we do very frequently. Okay, your components should have the primary message stated in 10 words or fewer. That's not a lot of words, okay? And then paragraphs should be 20 to 80 words, I would say, on the lower end of that. You want to follow up the paragraphs with a restatement of whatever you are requesting or whatever message you are delivering. And then you want to show goodwill overall there. Goodwill means that you are establishing a rapport with the people that you are dealing with in your messages. You're not being overbearing. So we're still going to follow the same three-step process that we've used before, where we plan, write, and review. We want to get the content correct. We want to get the delivery right, and then we want to double check everything, making sure we're proofreading and using that FAIR approach that we've talked about before. But as we said, in this case, the process should probably focus more in on the message development rather than as much time on the planning and reviewing. That's not to say you don't want to plan and review, but you should be able to spend less time on those components. Okay. One of the major types of routine messages that you will create are requests. A request, you're asking someone to do something for you. It often involves coordinating work efforts, maybe even buying and selling products and services, maintain your work relationships. So you want to be clear what the request is, but you need to provide some rationale for why you are requesting what you are. The call to action, they listed as being optional. It is, if a lengthy message gets put out, you might want to actually keep that separate. And then state goodwill. Again, you want to leave a tone there of not being overbearing with anyone. You want it to be a positive, other-oriented tone is the way they stated in your text. Okay, here we go with the bad one first. We're going to look at a bad routine request, and then we'll see how that could be configured into a more effective routine request. First of all, you can see that the subject line is just one word. It says software, which could mean a number of things, so that's not a very good subject line. And then we've got one paragraph all blended in together, and to read that is very hard to actually find the request. What is it that the person is asking for? You can kind of see that these are run-ons, and it's not separated into paragraphs, so it's very difficult to actually pull out the request there. There's also hard to read what the rationale is behind this request. This one paragraph request has 150 words in it. And remember, our recommendation is from 20 to 80 words per paragraph. So kind of vague, generic, hard to navigate. Now let's take that and turn it into a more effective routine request. Starting off with the subject line. It's still short, it's only 9 words, but clearly gives us an idea of what this request is going to be about. purchase of IBM SPSS modeler for our marketing analysts. So that's much clearer than just the word software. You can see the use of paragraphs there, so it kind of breaks it up and makes it easier to navigate. The reading and the signature line are separate, so much easier. The very first thing in this routine request is the actual request itself in the very first line. Can you provide a purchase authorization for statistical software for our 3 marketing analysts? That's what the request is, stated front and center there, so you don't have to worry about digging through the big long paragraph and finding it. The next couple of paragraphs provide the rationale for needing that purchase authorization, so that is very clear. It also clearly tells you some specifics, the number of things that they need, the cost of each, and so on. So much easier just to read and pinpoint what is being requested of the reader. So again, they finish up with kind of a focus on the other person, Andrea. We're eager to make these purchases and allow the analyst team to begin using these tools. Please let me know if you can authorize these purchases. And again, it's focused towards the user, the reader of the request. It's not condescending. It's not saying, oh, Edgar, you've got to approve this, or anything like that. It's not begging or so forth. It just follows some very easy to read. Might even look longer in the beginning, but it's actually much easier that one paragraph and much more specific. Okay. When you're working with others and you are providing routine messages, it's clearly important to, when you set your expectations of those people, it gets tied into your credibility and your ability to trust other people in the workplace. If that doesn't take place, then you can have a lot of breakdowns in working relationships. Disappointments take place. So setting expectations of other people involve explaining those expectations, describing the responsibilities, providing deadlines, discussing coordination, and again, and you're going to see this over and over again, that last one in each type, stating goodwill. Again, that just means maintaining kind of an other focus and not being overbearing with the other people. So once again, let's look at a bad example of an expectations type business message, and then we will look at a revised, better version of this. Okay. Again, we've got too short of a subject line. It just says deadlines. Okay. This is coming from Brian to Barry and John here. Hey, Barry and John, you two will be our lead team for the following 2 projects, so on. Tentatively, depending on our discussions with each client over the next week or so, and a few other factors, I expect the following deadlines over the next 2 months. All right, so basically what the intent of this is informing these 2 people that they've got some deadlines they're going to have to meet. Okay, buried in the next few sentences are all the deadline dates and so on, and we really value these new clients and want to make sure we get repeat business from them. That's upbeat, but the tone is really very bossy, demanding, so that goodwill is not being established there. It says here, you two need to step it up and really be on your game. okay? So that kind of implies that they haven't been doing their job up till that point. Stop by my office and we'll talk over this. So once again, it's one paragraph all run together, very hard to pick out what these expectations are. You have to read very hard to figure out what the deadlines are. And again, we've got the incorrect tone. So here's our better revision of this. Okay, the subject line is much more descriptive. Tentative deadlines for Jansen slippers and Forrester eyeglasses. Can you meet this afternoon? So much clearer that there's something going to be expected of the people that this is addressed to. The beginning sentence clearly states what those expectations are, and by breaking up the paragraph into different sections, you can actually see the deadlines. You don't have to dig through and locate what is due when. And then it ends up with a little better tone, a little more positive. Can we meet in Barry's office at 3 p.m.? If that doesn't work, how about 4 p.m. today? Let me know which time works best for you. So the focus is not as demanding as the prior. And another type of routine message is to provide directions to someone. This is not necessarily how to get from one place to the other, but how to actually accomplish something. Sometimes there's step-by-step guidelines for getting through a task. The key thing with providing directions is to make sure that your steps are outlined clearly, and it's suggested that you even number them so that you'll know what your process is. So state your goal up front, then give those step-by-step directions and finish off with the goodwill. There's a bad one. Okay, travel is the subject line, not descriptive enough. All one paragraph, we've got a use of passive voice, which makes the message sort of impersonal. Careless and sloppy tone, that says a lot about your credibility. The process is fairly simple. Once there's a determination that the trip is necessary, I've determined that already, a TA is required. The form should be filled out and signed by your your direct supervisor. Then it should be taken to HR, then sent directly to our travel agency, and you'll be contacted about setting up your trip. After the trip, any receipts need to be turned into HR, and reimbursement generally takes about 10 days. Hope this helps. Well, gee whiz, I have to go back and read that 2 or 3 times, even though it's a fairly short paragraph, to figure out what order I need to do things. This one, again, it may look longer, but it's still going to be so much easier to read through and to follow the steps one by one. You'll see the directions are numbered there for you, clearly stated, and the paragraph ends up being with a tone that's a little more positive. It is more professional, much easier to read. I love numbering things like that, or at least pulling them out in bullet points, as it gives you the ability to check things off, make sure you've accomplished them one by one. Our next type is an inquiry, okay? You're asking something of someone else, some type of question you want them to answer. And we're mainly talking about a response to an inquiry here. And again, bullets or numbers, special formatting will help out a lot with this type of message here. Hi, Brian. I contacted Andrea about developing some ads. She recommended that I contact you directly. Basically, I'm interested in pricing for various advertising options, and so on. I mean, we just, of course, we don't have a big budget. Do you have any specialists? How are your rates? What about social media? I mean, lots and lots of questions there. Okay? I'm not sure what it is I'm supposed to be answering. Okay? All right, here's another example here where Joel has responded to that. It is still not as effective, even though it's not very long. It pretty much directs them to the website. And all these sentences kind of going into each other, so I'm not really sure each question has been answered. So it's what they call a non-unified response. It's got all the answers to all the questions piled into one paragraph. Okay, so now let's look at the better or more effective, first of all, the formatting there, and the subject line is much better, much easier to read. It still recommends using a website. It gives a link there for it, but you'll see what's taking place is that each question is repeated, and underneath it are the answers to that specific question. And that goes through to another page. So again, you might at first think that it may be too long, but it is much easier to find the answers to the inquiries, even as far as the last one about when could we meet and talk, gives some options for getting together there. I can tell you that even when students do written homework assignments similar to this, it's much easier to correct them or grade them when you can see the question and then an actual answer to that question right underneath it, so that you're certain that the student has addressed all of the questions that are in the particular assignment. All right, an announcement. Okay, these are just updates to policies and procedures or a notice of an event. Could be a few other things there that all of them apply to a group of employees or customers. Announcements are easily overlooked, so you have to make sure that you get the intended people's attention first. Then do the announcement, provide details, and necessary, you'll do a call to action, and again, you want to state goodwill. I know that even on Blackboard, students have a tendency to not read the announcements, even though they are on the very first page of Blackboard. I have found that making sure an email gets generated at the same time will help gain the attention somewhat, but it's just human nature to skip over them for some reason. So got to find a way to gain their attention first of all. That one thing that will help a lot is that the subject line has to be specific and create some type of interest. So you can see from this one, which is an example of a bad announcement, the subject just says new policies. Well, probably me. I would see new policy and think, oh, how boring, and not even bother with that. Okay? So we don't see any enthusiasm coming about as far as just taking a look at what this announcement is about. And then, of course, we're seeing some wordy paragraphs here. More effective, that subject line is new bring your own device policies, BYOD. Okay. So right off the bat, when you see that subject line, you get an idea of, yeah, it's policies, but we know that there's some specific policies that deal with bringing your own device, and I might be very interested in that. So I'm going to read this a little more carefully. Broken down, bullet points, easier to navigate. So I think definitely an improvement over just a one paragraph that says new policies. You may find yourself writing a claim as well. A claim is a request for companies to compensate for something they've done wrong or a mistake that they have made. Hopefully they won't be done quite as frequently as some of the others, like announcements, but you'll find yourself doing them at some point, for sure. You need to make the claim up front, give the rationale, call to action, and state goodwill. What you're trying to do is to have your claim honored, so you definitely need to provide facts first. And if you are going to provide your emotions, which it might be a very emotional subject, put that second. Okay? Be professional, be logical, give your explanation. An example would be like someone charged your credit card, got your number and charged up your credit card. You probably are going to be highly upset when that happens. But don't show your emotions first. Tell the facts first, and then your emotions. All right, not a good one. Here's the subject. Please correct billing mistakes on hotel stays immediately. You can already tell that this person is very irritated. They want action fast. So they're getting a little uppity there. Hello, Jeff. I'm quite frustrated that we made an annual agreement with you at a rate of $124 per night for employees that you have not honored. Within the past 2 months, 2 of our employees have stayed at Prestigio for a total of 15 nights at a rate of $169. By my calculations, you overcharged us $675. In addition, there should be a minor adjustment for taxes that we paid on a higher rate. Please take care of this matter immediately by refunding us the overpaid amount. Thanks a lot. Again, the whole tone of this thing is very negative, very accusatory. And even if it's true that the hotel did make a mistake, when they receive this request, they're going to be offended by it, even if they have done wrong. Okay, now, there we have a more effective claim. The subject is stated in a little more positive tones. Credit to Smith & Smith Advertising due to overbilling for hotel stays. Not taking any of the blame themselves. They're actually still putting the blame on the hotel for overbilling, but it's said in a little bit different way. It also provides an attachment that shows that agreement they had for the $124 a night. That's providing a fact. The first sentence says, could you apply credits to our account with the Prestigio to offset overbilling on several recent stays by our employees? And then goes on to give the rationale. Finishes up being very positive, saying thanks a lot, best wishes, our employees enjoy the hotel, that kind of stuff. It's assertive, it's still saying we want some action taken here, but it is polite. Next up, we have a message that shows appreciation, which is an expression of thanks, of helping get to your business goals, and it also helps strengthen work relationships. You want to give thanks up front, provide rationale, why are you thanking, and then state goodwill. Before we even discuss how to do this, let me notice how important it is to actually do these types of messages. I have found that as time goes by, people have sort of lost the art of thank you notes, okay? And they really are so very important. I will have to say that my parents taught me the importance of a thank you note as far as how much it maintains a relationship with someone or can impress someone. I occasionally, but not very often, get thank you notes from students who have received scholarships, students who have received special recognition for something, but more and more that's not happening. So it really is, if you're sincere, of course, a very important part of maintaining a business relationship. Here's a not good one. Hi, you guys. I think you did a fabulous job on the zoo project. I just got off the phone with so-and-so. We talked about how successful these ads have been. The participation has increased dramatically. I think we got an error there. Exclamation points, you are all the best. To show my appreciation, I've made reservation for lunch this Friday. You'll love the restaurant. Thanks again for being so fantastic. That is just really too much. That's overdoing it. Okay? Exaggeration. And it's almost self-centered rather than towards the people who had done the work. Okay, changing that. Say up front, great job on the zoo project, such and such was a huge success. Then the rationale behind it is in a separate paragraph. And finally, let's celebrate. It gives details for going to lunch. It doesn't say it's my favorite place and we're going to my place. It's a team-oriented type thanks. Enthusiastic, but not overbearing. So be careful to thank those. If you have an interview with somebody, thank the people for the interview. Okay, if you have an award for something, thank the people who gave you that award. All right, how about making an apology? That might not be quite as easy as thanking somebody. Because first of all, you have to acknowledge that you've done something wrong. You've made a mistake or you've offended someone, and now you want to express regret for any harm that was caused. So it allows you to accept responsibility and to make a commitment that you're not going to repeat that. Timeliness is very important, and also sincerity. Okay, here's an apology. Good morning, everyone. I want to take a few moments to apologize. Last Friday in our executive management meeting, I made several unfair comments. Okay, so It also pinpoints what those comments were. It shows regret on the part of the writer. And then the statement of responsibility. Over the weekend, I thought about my comments a lot. I'm frustrated that we give in to unreasonable demands from a few of our clients, and so on and so forth. Okay, ending up with a commitment that this will not happen again in the future. Turn it into something constructive. This person says, I'm going to avoid any blaming. And then our last type of routine message is an expression of sympathy. Again, it needs to be sincere. Being truly concerned is going to be more than enough to show any kind of sympathy. Handwritten expressions of sympathies are much more appreciated than typed expressions. So take the time, get a little nice card, and handwrite your expression of sympathy. Okay, so we have talked about how these routine messages do affect your credibility, the different components, and then we went through several types of task-oriented routine messages and several types of relationship-oriented messages. Okay. Anybody have any comments about the PowerPoint slides or anything before we get going? Have you written any types of these messages before at all, even emails?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find any parts of it more difficult than other parts?
When you're, especially if you're writing a claim about something or anything that you have to include any kind of negative, I like the sandwiching technique, being able to, state the claim. I love that one about stating the claim, that.
Yes. It's so hard to keep your emotions apart from what you're trying to state. So remember, keep the facts up front. And, I'm guilty of letting my emotions show. Hopefully by writing a message, I've actually taken a deep breath before I've started writing and gotten some of those emotions out of the way so that I can communicate the facts. But they are some of the hardest to write. I get comments from students that are negative, okay? And to be quite honest, I tend to not respond as quickly to those negative messages as I do some that are more positive. Like I got a message from one student yesterday that said, I got your message about not completing my homework assignment on time. Unfortunately, I had to have surgery and I was unable to complete that. I have already completed it. Could you change my grade to reflect that? That was very positive. Okay, gave me rationale. I understood what was going on. I immediately went in and changed that student's grade. Okay. I have gotten other messages to the tone of, well, I didn't get my homework assignment done. Can you please open it up again? And then most of the time I don't use the word please. Open it up again so I can fix it and get it done and turn it into you. Well, I'm already taking offense at that because they didn't give any rationale for why they didn't get the assignment done. It was very kind of pointing the finger at me as almost as if I caused that assignment to not be completed on time. So realize that the reader's response might also be affected by the tone that you put in your message.
Henderson.
I think that's a good point that sometimes we have to learn the hard way.
Henderson.
Okay, well, take a break, come back. We will take a look at a couple of other things here, and we're probably going to get out early because I don't want my people to have to paddle through the river to get home. So, because it has been really coming down out there. Looks like it's slowed up some. So,
I got a work.
I was just using my phone.
okay, so why don't we come back in here about 3, and we will finish things up.
Ms. Henderson.
Yes.
Thank you. I actually had some wisdom to pull.
Oh, you were my example.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, very good. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know what that's like. I've had that done in my lifetime. So, and like I say, I'm glad that I was able to give you an adjustment on your grade because of that, and you responded to me quite very nicely, and that ought to give you some extra credit, if nothing else, above and beyond just getting your assignment grade back in there. It seems to me you've learned something in this class already.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you're feeling better. You must be. You're up and about.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I didn't realize you were sitting there when I did that, but you knew it was you right away, didn't you?
Ma'am.
Hey, I'll see y'all about 3.
All right.
I got the AC pumping up in here. I know, I started realizing I had to start bringing a hoodie, so I was like, dang, it's so cold in here, but it's always hot outside, so I would like wear short sleeves, and come in here and like, wear the hoodie.
All righty, folks, I guess it's 3 o'clock and we will finish up this chapter. Don't let me forget to discuss with you, I put up the second portfolio of messages assignment on Blackboard, so I want to make sure you see that as well. And don't forget that the first one is due, is it July 1st? I guess that's Sunday coming up. So, oh, I have a birthday next week. Okay. We'll just forget about that. All right, so what I'm going to do is, oh, gee, when I paused the recording, I lost everything. Okay, let me get it back up here. Okay, since I'm on the Blackboard screen, I'm going to go ahead and show you that assignment so that I won't forget about it since I just thought right now about it. So I am under week 6, which is this week. Through the week 6 materials. Of course, there are your regular homework assignments for the chapter that we have today, as well as the one that we will do on Thursday. Here is your second portfolio of messages assignment. You're going to be doing a persuasive message, which is actually something we're going to cover on Thursday's class, but wanted to make sure you had plenty of time to prepare for it. It is application 1010 in your textbook, and I've just copied and pasted that there so you could see it. You can see there's the case set up for it. you're going to be writing a sales message, which is going to be a persuasive type message. Again, it's from chapter 10, to promote a cruise, okay, to the members of the company. So you can make up some information if you need to, like the price and the dates and so on. And there's your information about submitting that. So you're going to be creating it in Microsoft Word and then just saving your file and attaching it there. Just do it in the format of a letter because you want to, you're going to be sending these out to your customers. So it'll go out in the form of a letter.
I have a question.
Yes.
In this format of a letter that we're sending out to customers, kind of advertising about this cruise, are we allowed to use any kind of graphics with this? Is it more of a flyer or just a letter to existing customers?
It's going to existing customers because this is a credit union and it's a cruise that you are going to be offering that has financial planning workshops and things like that during the cruise. So you're just going to use a regular letter format.
Okay.
And you can make up anything that you don't know. Like if it doesn't tell you the price of the cruise or whatever, you can make it up.
Okay.
Okay? And you're going to be just promoting it, but it'll become clear after we get through Thursday's class, probably, because it's more addressed in chapter 10, which is Thursday. Okay, now this one is due, let's see, you have to click here. It is, oh, no, it's not due April 1st, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let me edit that. Why did I check that?
We all late.
Yeah, you'll all be late.
Well, next April.
Well, but it says 2018, so I don't think we're going to do
I
that.
can't see that far away. I got to sit.
All right, so I think I wanted it to be due July 8th. That gives you a week between when the previous one is due and this one. So you still have plenty of time. So I will make sure I got the rest of that, yes. All right. That looks better. Now let me click on it and make sure it's saved. Yes, Sunday, July 8th at midnight. Okay, so glad we checked that. All right, so we're going to finish up with a video that I found on the web that pretty much follows our chapter very closely. I relabel the name as chapter 9, but you'll see it referred to as chapter 7 once we get going in the video, but just ignore that because it's coming from a different author, but it's very much the same. It's kind of a summary of all that we've just talked about, just kind of a review, and when we finish that up, we will be good to go for the afternoon unless anybody has any questions about anything. So let's get going with that one. I hope that comes up for you.
Chapter 7, Writing Routine and Positive Messages. Much of your daily business communication will involve routine and positive messages, including routine requests for information or action, replies on routine business matters, and positive messages such as good news announcements and goodwill messages, from product operation hints and technical support to refunds and ordering glitches. Making requests is a routine part of business. Like all other business messages, routine requests have 3 parts: an opening, a body, and a close. Using the direct approach, open with your main idea, which is a clear statement of your request. Use the body to give details and justify your request, and close by requesting action. With routine requests, you can make your request at the beginning of the message. Of course, getting right to the point should not be interpreted as license to be abrupt or tactless. Pay attention to your tone, assume that your audience will comply, and be specific. Use the body of your message to explain your request as needed. Make the explanation a smooth and logical outgrowth of your opening remarks. If complying with the request could benefit the reader, be sure to mention that. If you have multiple requests or questions, consider these tips. Ask the most important questions first. Deal with only one topic per question. Close your message with 3 important elements. A specific request that includes any relevant deadlines, information about how you can be reached if it isn't obvious, and an expression of appreciation or goodwill. The most common types of routine messages are asking for information or action, asking for recommendations, and making claims and requesting adjustments. Routine requests can have up to 3 basic elements: what you want to know or what you want your readers to do, why you're making the request, not required in all cases, why it may be in your reader's interest to help you, not applicable in all cases. The need to inquire about people arises often in business. For example, before extending credit or rewarding contracts, jobs, promotions, or scholarships, companies often ask applicants to supply references. Companies ask applicants to list references who can vouch for their ability, skills, integrity, character, and fitness for the job. Before you volunteer someone's name as a reference, ask permission to do so. Requests for recommendations and references are routine, so you can organize your inquiry using the direct approach. Open your message by clearly stating why the recommendation is required. Use the body of the request to list all the information the recipient would need to write the recommendation, including the full name and address or email address of the person to whom the recommendation should be sent. Close your message with an expression of appreciation. If you're dissatisfied with a company's product or service, you can opt to make a claim, a formal complaint, or request an adjustment, a settlement of the claim. In either case, it's important to maintain a professional tone in all your communication, no matter how angry or frustrated you are. Keeping your cool will help you get the situation resolved sooner. Open with a clear and calm statement of the problem along with your request. In the body, give a complete explanation of the details. Provide any information the recipient needs to verify your complaint. In your close, politely request action or convey a sincere desire to find a solution. Just as you'll make numerous requests for information and action throughout your career, you'll also respond to similar requests from other people. When you are responding positively to a request, sending routine announcements, or sending positive or goodwill message, you have several goals: to communicate the information or the good news, answer all questions, provide all required details, and leave your reader with a good impression of you and your firm. By opening with the main idea, or good news, you prepare your audience for the details that follow. Make your opening clear and concise. The best way to write a clear opening is to have a clear idea of what you want to say. Before you begin, ask yourself, what is the single most important message I have for the audience? Use the body to expand on the opening message so that the readers get all the information they need. As you provide the details, maintain the supportive tone established in the opening. This tone is easy to continue when your message is entirely positive. However, if your routine message is mixed and must convey mildly disappointing information, put the negative portion of your message into as favorable a context as possible. The close of routine replies and positive messages is usually short and simple because you're leaving things on a neutral or positive note and not usually asking for the reader to do anything. Often, a simple thank you is all you need. However, if a follow-up action is required or expected, Use the close to identify who will do what and when that action will take place. Most routine and positive messages fall into 6 categories: answers to routine requests, grants of claims and requests for adjustment, recommendations, routine informational messages, good news announcements, and goodwill messages. Every professional answers requests for information or action from time to time. If the response is straightforward, the direct approach is appropriate. A prompt, gracious, and thorough response will positively influence how people think about you and the organization you represent. When you're answering requests from a potential customer or other decision maker, look for subtle and respectful ways to encourage a decision in your favor. Even the best-run companies make mistakes, from shipping the wrong order to billing a customer's credit card inaccurately. In other cases, a customer or a third party might be responsible for a mistake, such as misusing a product or damaging a product in shipment. Each of these events represents a turning point in your relationship with your customer. If you handle the situation well, your customer is likely to be even more loyal than before, because you've proven that you're serious about customer satisfaction. However, if a customer believes that you mishandled a complaint, you'll make the situation even worse. Dissatisfied customers often take their business elsewhere without notice and tell numerous friends and colleagues about the negative experience. The transaction that might be worth only a few dollars by itself could cost you many times that amount of lost business. In other words, every mistake is an opportunity to improve a relationship. Your response to a customer complaint depends on your company's policies for resolving such issues and your assessment of whether the company, the customer, or some third party is at fault. People who need endorsements from employers or colleagues when applying for a job, for example, often request letters of recommendation. These messages used to be a fairly routine matter, but employment recommendations and references have raised some complex legal issues in recent years. Employees have sued employers and individual managers for providing negative information or refusing to provide letters of recommendation. And employers have sued other employers for failing to disclose negative information about job candidates. Before you write a letter of recommendation for a former employee or provide information in response to another employer's background check, make sure you understand your company's policies. Your company may refuse to provide anything more than dates of employment and other basic details. Many messages involve sharing routine information, such as project updates and order status notifications. Use the opening of these routine messages to state the purpose and briefly mention the nature of the information you are providing. Provide the necessary details in the body and end your message with a courteous close. To develop and maintain good relationships, smart companies recognize that it's good business to spread the word about positive developments. Such developments can include opening new facilities, hiring a top executive, introducing new products or services, or sponsoring community events. Because good news is always welcome, use the direct approach. All business messages should be written with an eye toward fostering positive relationships with audiences. But some messages are written specifically to build goodwill. You can use these messages to enhance your relationship with customers, colleagues, and other business people by sending friendly, even unexpected notes with no direct business purpose. Whether you're thanking an employee for a job well done or congratulating a colleague for personal and professional achievement, the small effort to send a goodwill message can have a positive and lasting effect on the people around you. One prime opportunity for sending goodwill messages is to congratulate individuals or companies for significant business achievements, perhaps for being promoted or for attaining product sales milestones. Other reasons for sending congratulations include the highlights in people's personal lives, such as weddings, births, graduations, and success in non-business competitions. You may congratulate business acquaintances on their own achievements or on the accomplishments of a spouse or child. You may also take note of personal events, even if you don't know the reader well. If you're already friendly with the reader, a more personal tone is appropriate. An important leadership quality is the ability to recognize the contributions of employees, colleagues, suppliers, and other associates. Your praise does more than just make the person feel good. It encourages further excellence. A message of appreciation may also become an important part of someone's personnel file, so provide specific information wherever possible. Condolence letters are brief personal messages written to comfort someone after the death of a loved one. You may have occasion to offer condolences to employees or other business associates when the person has lost a family member, or to the family of an employee or business associate when the person has passed away. These messages can feel intimidating to write, but they don't need to be. Follow these 3 principles: short, simple, and sincere. You don't need to produce a work of literary art. The fact that you are writing sends a message that is as meaningful as anything you can say.
Okay, I wanted to include that.
Chapter 7.
Whoops, there we go. I wanted to include that video because it specifically addressed what you're going to be doing for the homework assignment, if you haven't done it already, for the first part of your portfolio messages. If you haven't done it, just a reminder that it deals with writing to ask for a letter of recommendation. And we really hadn't addressed that specifically through the PowerPoint, so that video had some information about letters of recommendation. So maybe if you need to go back and review that before you do yours on and submit it on Sunday, that might be helpful. I also noticed, just want to make sure that you're aware that even though I put the closed captioning up, sometimes I get the words wrong. Like I noticed on this one that instead of the word close, C-L-O-S-E, that a couple times they use close, C-L-O-T-H-E-S. Please know that I don't expect you to take your clothes off and write on them or anything like that. That's just a little translation problem with the closed captioning. So, but I think I have found myself that closed captioning helps a lot in listening to the videos, because I am slightly hearing impaired, and I know transmitting through these broadcasts sometimes makes it difficult. So you all, I hope they're benefiting you, even though they sometimes get the words wrong. So
It does.
okay, good. Okay, so here's what you got coming up. You've got due Sunday. You've got homework for this chapter, chapter 9. Your normal multiple choice, chapter 10, multiple choice, and then you have the assignment that was in I think it was published in the previous week's assignment. So you'll have to go back to week 5 to deal with that one. That's the letter of recommendation. I've also put up the one for coming up due July 8th. Hopefully we've got the date right now. And you can wait probably until we at least cover chapter 10 before you get started on that one. Okay, any questions from anybody?
No, thank you.
We'll call it early today so I can get my folks across the river here.
Well, I'll be praying for you.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad yet, but I tell you, when they say flash floods, you know they come fast. And I've lived in situations where I couldn't get out because of a creek that went over my road. So not there now, but we got plenty of folks that live on the other side of the river here. So I will see you all Thursday. And remember, if I'm a few minutes late, don't leave, okay? I will be here.
Okay.
All right, goodbye.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.